Hey guys, how are you all doing? It is my last full day in Ho Chi Minh, aka Saigon, in Vietnam, and I've been eating a lot of awesome Vietnamese food, but I realized I never feature Japanese food. This rice picker hat is from my Airbnb accommodation. It was hanging on the wall and I decided to just open up with it, but it is quite hot, so I'm gonna take it off for now. Here we have takoyaki, some seaweed salad with sea grapes, fried tempura with veggies, huge rolls, tonkatsu, chicken cutlet, miso soup. Let's break the chopsticks. I'm currently filming on my bed. Eating in this room is a ticking time bomb because ants will come to get this meal within 1 hour. And I usually take about 1 hour or more to film a mukbang, so let's get to it. Ooh, where do we begin? I always like to start off with vegetables. Let me give you a close look at the seaweed salad. Wow, isn't that a super weird and cool texture? Whoa, those pop! All those little bubbles. You bite into it and it's like a little splash of saltiness. All right, there is a sauce for this, and that sauce is this one. But let's not put too much because it'll be too salty. Mix it up. There's some fish eggs in here as well. They're bright orange, small circles. Just like the seaweed grapes, when you bite into it, there's like a splashiness. Ooh, that was dangerous. Did I mention I'm filming on a bed right now? And this is actually a mirror that was just like leaning against the wall here. I needed to have a raised platform, so I put 4 cups on each corner of this mirror and it's raised up. So that's the mirror. And then here's 1 cup. Here's the other cup. What I really want to try next is the takoyaki. I should probably use the chopsticks. This is octopus fried balls. Or more like balls of fried octopus. We need more flavor in that one. We gotta dip it in some sauce. Anything fried tends to taste the best right after it is cooked. I picked this food up about 20 minutes ago, so it probably cooled down a little bit. Tonkatsu, pork cutlet. When I was growing up, especially when I was in 2nd grade, my mother would make these at home for me. And I remember she would get the chicken and then she would, hit it with the this steel kind of like a hammer, but it would be flat. It's like a flat, small hammer. It's not like a hammer like on the wall you put a nail. It's like a different kind of hammer. But she would pound the chicken meat to soften it, and then she would bread it. And typically there is like a tonkatsu sauce with it. Okay, tonkatsu is a Korean way of saying it. I think the Japanese way is like tonkatsu. And usually it's like the best when it's freshly cooked out of the kitchen and it's so crispy on the outside. And then you put some of that sweet sauce on the top. It still tastes good, just the texture faded away. It's all good. It's all good. These are shredded radish. And there's a dressing on that. And just a slight sweet dressing. There's a lot of things I want to talk to you guys about, but one of the things I really want to mention is when I got to Saigon, my neighbor next door, they have a baby or a kid. I think it's a kid, like a 2-year-old kid, but she cries all the time. And it started to really stress me out because I love babies when they don't cry. When they cry, I just want to be far away from them. And thankfully it's not the zombie apocalypse, because if it were the zombie apocalypse, you don't want to be around crying babies. Like, you're gonna die. That is if zombies are attracted to sound. If zombies don't like baby noises, then by all means, let's make babies. The seaweed salad is something I have every day. I normally would not put the dressing in. Instead, I might squeeze in some lemon on there if I were to make it at home. But you know what? It tastes really good with sesame oil. And so the baby was stressing me out so much that I was just really inspired to watch zombie films, zombie shows. So I found Z Nation and wow, I fell in love with it. So the second day I was in Saigon, let's have another one of these takoyakis. Oh, this time let's dip it in the sauce. Now this sauce I believe is soy sauce. It's not soy sauce. That dip is for the tempura. But you know what? People make a sauce for a certain something. No one's enforcing the rules. You dip it in whatever sauce you want. If you're gonna dip this in your miso soup, there's no cops. No one's coming after me. So we have pieces of ginger here, quite thinly sliced. You know, ginger, if I'm feeling weak and I have a little bit of ginger tea, or I like bite into a ginger, ooh, it's like my it gives me so much strength. You know, it gives me stamina, endurance, like whatever you want to call it. Let's have a sip of this miso soup. Miso soup contains tofu as well as seaweed. Let me give you a closer look. And of course, what makes it foggy is the miso paste. So the second day I was in Saigon, I started watching Z Nation, and yesterday I finished watching the first season. I don't know, usually I don't watch shows online. You know, I even stopped watching YouTube videos ever since I started my trip, and I tried to get back in the habit of watching YouTube videos because you want to know what people are up to, what other YouTubers, other creatives are up to, and see what's trending. See, you know, it inspires you to create certain types of content as well. So watching the zombie show relieved my stress from the crying baby next door, but in the second episode there was a baby, a crying baby, and then that baby turned into a zombie. Now, human zombies are not the scariest. I mean, imagine animals becoming zombies, and animals can be very fast. And imagine if insects like spiders become zombies. That's even freakier, because at least with human zombies, you can lock them out. You know, you could have like a secure door. But insects always find a way to get in. I mean, if you're worried about ants getting to your food in 1 hour, they could get to your body in 1 hour as well. These chicken cutlets with tonkatsu, these are savory. So even if it's not like super delicious, you just having that flavor linger around, it makes you feel so comfortable. It's like hanging out with one of your guy friends who is like a teddy bear. So comfy and non-threatening. You don't mind sleeping next to him. He's not gonna do any funny business to you. It's something I like to eat on a rainy day, or even a day my heart may feel so cold. This time let's try the deep fried seafood and veggies. It almost looks like a hash brown. You know, the ones that come in thin strips. Here's the back. Well, you could tell that this side is more flat, so that's where it was touching the pan. In the first bite, let's try it without any dipping sauce. It tastes fried, but it doesn't taste like a very heavy fried flavor. So when you have a bite, it doesn't make you feel like it's weighing you down, you know? It's light enough. Let's go for a little swim. Is that taro I see? And there's carrot. Oh, this is green veggie. Guys, why does fried food taste so good? Why? Why is the human body attracted to fatty things and sweet, you know, the sugar? Our body has to evolve to a point where we thrive on sugar. We love it so much. Come on, you guys. Let's evolve. I don't want to make a mess on my Airbnb bed. Let's keep a version from the sauces. Yeah? If you have to try this big sushi, I might have to use my hands for this one. Check it out. We have avocado, the crab sticks, and around it is the raw fish. And I also see cucumber in there. And a little piece of lettuce. Oh, it's falling apart. You know what's really funny? It's a roll in a roll. Rollception, yo. It's certainly a challenge to fit it all in your mouth in one bite. We have some wasabi here. And we have some more sea grapes. And I put a little bit too much wasabi in my mouth. Woo, just from licking my chopsticks off. And we could mix the soy sauce with the wasabi and then dip the roll into that sauce, wasabi sauce. You know, I always like to have my sashimi, my sushi, plain as it is, given to me rather than dipping into the sauce. However, I do like eating the ginger in between each bite. Whoa, I can't recommend that one for you to eat on a first date. When you guys go on a first date, are there foods that you always avoid eating? For me, I avoid eating anything with like black sesame, black pepper, poppy seeds. It's gonna get in your teeth. And size wise too, bite size is okay, it's good. If it's thin enough, you know, long is okay, you could just bite. Well, like this. Tonkatsu is lady friendly, and so is a salad. Because you get to custom make the sizes of the bites. These little fried cakes too, they're date friendly. However, if you eat fried food on the first date, I don't know about some of you guys, but for me, my hair absorbs smells very easily. So I could just be in like a restaurant that sells french fries for 10 minutes, like burgers and stuff, and I exit, my hair will smell like burgers and fries for the rest of the day. But size-wise, french fries are date friendly. So maybe instead of eating it inside a shop or restaurant. You could have it outside. You could go on a picnic, then your hair won't absorb all the oils. What else is a first date friendly food? If you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comment section, and then hashtag first date friendly. Or we could keep it simple and just do hashtag first date. Yeah, let's do that. Hashtag first date. Let's have another one of these rolls. Well, actually, let's have some ginger. And okay, so typically I said I don't eat my sushi with wasabi and soy sauce, but today I will, at least for this next roll. Okay, so with this roll I use my hand, right? But this time I'm gonna try to eat more like a lady and not use my hand. I did it. Fail. Life is coming apart. Oops. So much for trying to be a lady. I feel like the harder I try to be ladylike, the more I'm not. There's little pieces of salmon skin in that, and that brings up the saltiness. I might have to resort using my fingers again. I mentioned what is that? Oh, I thought it was a little bug, but it's not. I mentioned before that in Southeast Asia, a lot of people think that I'm Japanese. Even when I went to the post office in Saigon today, the famous landmark, the Saigon post office, I went there this morning to send some postcards to family and friends. And the lady working at the counter, she was asking me, oh, where are you sending the postcards to? And before I could even answer, she was like, Japan? And I was like, no, to America, to California. Actually, I would say about 80%, at least 80% of the time, people in Southeast Asia think I'm Japanese. So it makes me wonder, if I go to Japan, will the locals start speaking to me in Japanese? And in the end, it doesn't really matter what I am. This is just skin. And it's just by chance I'm born in this particular body, that I am a girl, that I'm Asian, that I'm Korean American to be exact. Everyone is not exactly same, but humans, we have a lot of things in common. We want to be happy. We're trying to make it in this world. Some people really want to be successful. Other people, they just want a family. The dreams may differ, but in the end, we all want to be happy. When I was in college and when I was younger, I used to sacrifice all other areas of my life for school. I was always trying to get the straight A's. Actually, my parents didn't force me to study. I remember growing up, some of my Asian friends, their parents were like, study, get a really good score on the SAT. But my parents were really chill about that. So I put that pressure on myself. I was like, well, I want to get good grades, I want to get scholarships, I want to go to the school I want to go to. I sacrificed hanging out with friends, and if I had too much fun just hanging out and chilling, I would start thinking like, oh, I should be home and I should be productive and work on my project, or make myself useful. And even if I didn't sleep enough and I was so tired, or health didn't, forget about health, I had to get good grades. But the older I get nowadays, being productive is important, of course, because you need to pay your bills, you need to feed yourself, and money can buy you certain things. Like money helped me buy this food to film the mukbang. Yeah, so these days I tend to make decisions based upon my health. And if I'm super tired and I have to do some work, thing is, if you're really tired and trying to get things done, it might take twice as long to get all that stuff accomplished. So rather I go to sleep, and then I would wake up a little bit earlier and then finish the work. One of the things I miss about being at home, back in my hometown, is going to the gym. Sometimes I get bored of routine, but there is a beauty in routine. And because I'm traveling and I don't have access to a scale, so I really don't know how much I weigh. But I do know, like, when I look at my older profile picture on Facebook, I look at it, I'm like, whoa, I look slimmer there. And usually, if you look at your old photos and you think that looks slimmer, that means typically means currently you are a little bit fluffier. But when you look at old photos and you're like, wow, I look chubby there, it's an indication that you are slimmer now. It's almost 6 p.m. and it's really quiet here today. Usually right about now the kid next door starts crying, and usually you could hear karaoke because my accommodation is really close. It's like right next to Bui Vien, and Bui Vien is Backpacker Street. And if you go out at nighttime, they set out all the restaurants and bars, they set out all these tables and chairs onto the sidewalk, and people just fill all those seats. The locals, tourists alike. I mean, it's considered a touristy place, but I see a lot of locals out and about in this area. At this point, I feel like it's more ladylike to eat with my hand because it's less of a mess. Who said that it's more ladylike to not eat with your hand? That's just a perspective. It's not about just the tools, it's about how you use the tools. Because if you eat really messily with the fork, but then with your hands you eat like beautifully, you know, like a flowing dance, then what looks more beautiful? I mean, what looks more ladylike? Ginger time. I should ask for more ginger. Whenever I use toilet paper as my napkin in my mukbangs, there's always someone who says, that's so gross. Why do you use toilet paper as a napkin? Come to Vietnam, come to Southeast Asia, come to Korea too, and street food stall vendors especially, they will have the toilet paper on the table, and sometimes they put it in a box, but it's still toilet paper. It's still toilet paper, and then you pull it out like this on the top. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, we call this toilet paper, but it's just a tree. This could be anything. This could be a pillow as well, right? A neck pillow. And if you put it like this, it could hold something. It could hold an ice cream cone. Okay, let's pretend this hat is an ice cream cone, right? You put it in the hole, and bam, it balances. So it's not just a toilet paper, it's an ice cream cone holder. Let's finish this. Let's eat this lettuce. Ooh, let's make a wrap out of it. Tonkatsu wrap. In Korea, we wrap our meats. You know, we call it sam. Okay, what else should we put in? Let's put in some ginger, some sea grapes. What else? Let's put in some fish eggs. What else? Let's put in some slices of cucumber and white seaweed. Let me give you guys a close look. I have to be careful. Every time I lean into this bed, it might tip over this makeshift table. That's my sam. Tonkatsu sam. Oh, let's give some attention to the takoyaki, yeah? You know, it almost looks like a dessert. You know, it almost looks like it's gonna be sweet, but nope, it is savory. You gotta love these flakes on the top. They're like so ready to party, and when it gets heated, they start moving around, like dancing like this. You start doing the wave. Now this time I'm gonna bite halfway and show you the interior. The very inside has a very small piece of octopus. The balls might look quite big, but it's actually, this is quite hollow. There's more air than the octopus in there. And the octopus meat is not rubbery at all. Alright, we still got some tomatoes and some seaweed. Because I watch a lot of zombie episodes this week, every day I think about zombies. I would have dreams that zombies are chasing after me, and I would wake up in the morning kind of sweating, you know? But I don't know if it's because the weather is a little warmer or because I was sweating from running around in my dream so much. And then I got to thinking, where would you want to be if there were to be a zombie apocalypse? I just feel like most cities in Southeast Asia, forget it. There's so many people, like they live pretty condensed. Even San Francisco and New York, and it's a very dense, the density of all the buildings are quite high. So if there's a zombie apocalypse, everyone's gonna get infected so quickly. I feel like during a zombie apocalypse, somewhere where it's more isolated might be the best. Maybe the Grand Canyon? I mean, you still need to find places for food, right? And the longer you live in a zombie apocalypse, it gets harder and harder to find food. I mean, people stop manufacturing bottled water and all kinds of foods. What's this? Oh, looks like radish. On the top there's something slightly yellow. Ginger, grated ginger. Woo! I'm feeling that heat. Woo, my tongue. You know, before I filmed this mukbang, a couple hours ago today, right after I came out of the post office, I was just like kind of taking photos and soaking in the scene. And then I heard some people speaking English. And then I randomly commented on what they were talking about. And they turned around and then they're like, oh yeah, we're from San Francisco. And I'm like, oh, I'm 1 hour away from San Francisco. I'm from San Jose area. And turns out that we once already had met in a club when my mom and I went out dancing about 1 year ago. And we met for the second time in Vietnam. How crazy is that? We didn't even recognize each other when we met again today. We reintroduced ourselves, what's our name and stuff like that. But what happened was, how did we find out that we had met each other before? Well, we friended each other on Facebook and we had a mutual friend. And it turned out everything started clicking. It's a small world. Small world. I mean, it might be coincidence, but sometimes I just can't help but think that people are meant to be friends. Some people just keep crossing paths. It might be coincidence, but there's a beauty in that coincidence. So I just prefer to call it meant to be. You could think of it whatever you want. Just realized something. The curtains in my room, the triangles, are facing different directions. I just noticed that for the first time. Okay, look closely. These triangles point to the right. These triangles here point upwards. some foods taste really good even if you don't spend much money on the quality of the product or the freshness. Certain dishes highly depend on the freshness and the quality. Like kimchi, it's not so much about freshness as in like new fresh. It's about the fermentation. That's the crispy one. When you visit Vietnam, and particularly Hanoi and Saigon, especially Saigon, when you try crossing the streets, it could seem a little bit crazy, you know, chaotic, because the drivers, whether it's the motorbikes or the cars, they don't always stop when it's the pedestrians' turn to cross, right, at the intersection. And as you cross, you have to always watch for the cars and the motorbikes coming. And the point is, the key is, don't stop. Keep going, keep walking. Even if it's a little slow, just keep going, because once you stop, you're gonna stay stopped and you're gonna freeze and you're not gonna make progress. When you cross the streets from one side to the other and there's cars and vehicles coming by, it's like life. You know, sometimes we're like, okay, I want to get to from point A to point B the best way possible and the safest way, and sometimes you just keep waiting and waiting for the right time to cross, to get to your dream or your destination, your goal in life. And you just sit there and keep waiting, watching for the perfect time to make your move. But actually, just like when you cross the streets of Saigon, you just go and you take it one step at a time, and you tackle one incoming vehicle one at a time. And just like with life as well, it's all about taking it one step at a time as you go, because you cannot predict the speed at all your obstacles that are coming your way. You know, you can't predict all the challenges or what will happen, because you don't know. Maybe the car will decide to go faster than you, or it might let you go past first and then it might go behind, drive around you in the back. You just don't know. You just kind of cross, you know, confidently. You gotta do it confidently, but also cautiously. This is gonna be one of those mukbangs where I'm gonna finish everything. Its textures are starting to get a little rugged. This one does not taste as teddy bear like as the tonkatsu, but it is still like a comfort food. You certainly cannot say it's healthy. They said there's vegetable in it, but there's not much vegetable. Look at how thin this is. You know, it's thin as you know, the cassette tape? Almost as thin as a cassette tape. The little black strings inside. I'm gonna eat it plain without the wasabi soy sauce. The picture of this roll in the menu, I was like, oh, that looks so small, like only 6 pieces, so little for that price. And he was like, no, these rolls are pretty big. Ooh. I'm so surprised there's no ants on this bed. Maybe there's a more tasty party next door that they're hanging out at. Actually, yesterday I did a vlog on street food, and my camera, it got all the like oily and stuff like that. And I put this camera on my bed, and the ants were surrounding my camera. I'm like, this is not food, this is a camera. Unless the ants like eating metal these days. Okay, let's have this last piece of the fritter. Actually, one of the reasons why I rented this Airbnb is because I wanted to film in here. I like the blue wall, and the decorations in here are pretty nice. I'll give you a little tour right now as I'm having this bite. my thigh. Oh, 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 burn. It's a guitar, metal, shelves. It says, what does the fox say? More shelves, triangle shelves. Illuminati. Above the bed, we have the, what's it called again? Those decorations, like a macaroni. On that side is where the rice picker hats are, and of course one of them is on the bed. And this area is a little messy right now because, well, tomorrow I'm gonna pack for Cambodia, and I put my dirty clothes on one side, and it's an organized mess. And this looks like a fish bone, and this is a fish tail, fish head. People often ask me where I'm staying, and sometimes I stay in hotels, but a lot of the times I'm staying at Airbnb. You have one final takoyaki, one final roll, two final tofu. Actually, there's 4 more pieces of tofu. 3, 2, 1. I'm so full. Do you hear the kid? In every country I visited in this Asia trip, every country, I fell at least once, and I also found hair or a bug leg in my food. In America, if that happens, I might have mentioned this before. In America, if you find any bug or hair in your food, you either get that food for free or you get another dish. But if it's like an Asian restaurant in America, they might still do like Asian style. And the Asian style is, you tell the person who gave you the food, they're just like, what's wrong with it? Just take out the hair. They're not gonna give you a free meal or a new dish. In any case, I don't even get grossed out anymore. I'm just like, oh, piece of hair. The hair might already get in my mouth, and I'm like, whatever, moving on with life. I don't know, like, if I go back to America, will I go back to being like, oh, there's food here, can you give me another dish? Or would I just be like, oh, whatever, and keep the Asian style of being a customer? I'm not sure. Only time will tell. Wow, this one has a hole inside. It's almost like a bug chewed into it, and you can see how hollow it is. Mostly air. No octopus in that one, but there are crunchy parts to it. What's fun about this one, look at the inside, they have green bits. It looks like chives, because scallions tend to be thicker, but these are quite small. Guess what? We finished eating everything, you guys. That was my late lunch and early dinner. Hope you guys enjoyed eating Japanese food with me. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Miss Mina O for delicious selfies. And I'll see you guys in the next mukbang and travel vlog. Bye bye!